Hello, second grade. This week you are reading Sit In, Four Friends Stood Up by Sitting Down. This week in writing, we will be using the OREO method to write an opinion on whether or not you think it's a good idea to have a sit in and stand up for yourself. Go ahead and get your organizer from earlier this week. We were working on it yesterday, the day before. If you do not have it with you, go ahead and pause the video and get it now. If you have not completed the last two previous assignments yet, you will want to go back to the previous lessons before completing this one. In the last assignment, we learned about the OREO method. Remember that OREO stands for O stands for opinion, R stands for reasons, E stands for evidence or examples, and the last O stands for our opinion but restated. We have already written our opinions and our reasons. Today, we are only going to focus on the E for evidence or examples. Today, you are going to find 3 examples or pieces of evidence that supports our 3 reasons that we last wrote. Before we do that, go ahead and reread your opinion. So go ahead and reread your opinion and your 3 reasons that you have already wrote. Did you think it was a good idea or a bad idea? Did you state your 3 reasons? You can pause the video now while you do that and play again when you are ready to move on. Okay, today we are going to find evidence or examples that support our 3 reasons why you think it's a good idea or a bad idea for sit-ins. You will want to think about what you know about the civil rights movements, things that you have read in the story Sit In Four Friends. You may need to go back to the story or think about what you have read. Think about what you have read about sit-ins, about Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King Jr. All of those things can help you with your evidence. Let's go ahead and look at the first reason. For example, the first reason that I wrote yesterday says that to start, sit-ins are a great way to prove a point. I need to ask myself, how do I know that? So read your reason now and ask yourself, how do I know that? Well, for my reason, I asked myself, where did I read about sit-ins? Oh yeah, the story Sit In, How Four Friends Stood Up by Sitting Down. That story had to do with sit-ins. And now I ask myself, what happened in that story? I remember the Black students had a sit-in for equal rights. So that is my example or my evidence. Now I am ready to write my sentence. We start with a sentence starter. You can pick for instance, for example, in particular. An example is, in other words, or in the story. I like using in the story first because it lets my readers know where I'm getting my information from. You can pick whatever sentence starter you want, or maybe you have something different. Go ahead and write your first example. So, my evidence supports my reason. In the story, Sit In, How Four Friends Stood Up by Sitting Down, the Black students had a sit-in for equal rights. So this is my example of how it supports my first reason. Go ahead and write your example now. Don't forget your sentence starter. You can go ahead and pause the video while you'll do that. When you are ready to move on, play the video again. Now, for the next step, I'm going to read my second reason. Next, many people can participate in sit ins. Go ahead and read your second reason, why you agree or disagree. Now you need to find evidence or an example to support your second reason. I remember in the story it said more and more people participated in sit ins at Woolsworth. You may need to go back to the story to help you think about what your example is. So that is my evidence for my second example that many people participated in sit ins. I write, go ahead and pick your sentence starter. You want to pick a different sentence starter than you picked before. I picked for example this time. For example, more and more people participated in the sit ins at Woolsworth. And that is a sentence straight out of the book. So now is your turn. Go ahead and pick your different sentence starter and then write your sentence that supports your second reason. You can pause the video now while you are writing and play again when you are ready. The last part is the same thing, but you are reading your third reason why you agree or disagree and looking for an example or evidence to support that reason. For example, my reason is most importantly, people need to stand up for themselves to make changes. I ask myself, when do I remember reading about people standing up for themselves and making changes? Maybe I should go back into the story to look. So as I went back into the story and I looked, I found that in the end of the story, people weren't of all color were allowed to sit together to eat. So that's going to be my third example or evidence. So I'm going to pick my sentence starter and I chose in other words. In other words, the students helped change the world by letting everyone eat together. Go ahead and find a third example to support your reason. Be sure to pick a different sentence starter when writing your example. You can pause now while you are writing and click play when you're ready to move on. Before you submit, double check your sentences. Make sure that they make sense. Check for capital letters. Check for punctuation at the end of your sentences. And when you are finished, take a screenshot and upload it into SmartFox.